So welcome back to Rufus Duck Adventures. Carrying on in my backpacking tent series. This is a two-man tent, a proper two-man tent, and I've used this quite a few times with my son walking and backpacking. So this is the Nature Hike Opalus 2, and as you can see here, I actually have I put a little DD magic carpet with this. That's the 1.4 by 1.4. So I'll wear this tent without that, and then we'll add it on. But here we go. So coming in at, let's get that up on top of there, 2218. Yeah, let's call that 2.22. And then if I add the magic carpet, because I always take that with it, that will come in at 2391, so just under 2.4 kilograms, which not too bad for what is a relatively large backpacking two-man tent. And anyway, I'll get the contents out of the bag and we'll have a look at those. So here we have the poles. These are aluminium poles, and there are three different colors because they're three different lengths, and they're all color coded onto the tent. And then with the pegs, we have these lovely little Nature Hike branded, like a star shaped peg, a little twist on it, and these are about 6 inches long, really lightweight. I think these come in about 8 grams each, including that string, but there are 19 of them in this bag, 19 of them in there, so they need to be as light as possible, otherwise you know, that weight's going to add up. So but I've never had any problem with these pulling out. I've had this tent in a few high winds and it's been absolutely fine, but then 19 pegs holding your tent down should be right. Then we'll put this tent up and we'll take a look at it. This comes with a really nice Velcro compression strap, holds it all together, rolled up in there, really cool. So this is how I like to put the tent up. Put the two back pegs in on the rear, put all 3 poles in, and then when you grab these 2 front here and pull it, it will just all stand up. You put 2 pegs in, boom, in the ground, and that tent is up. Obviously it needs extra guying out, but at this point here the wind can be blowing and that is on the ground, it's not blowing away, it's pegged down, and then when you pull it up it goes. It's so easy. I love tunnel tents for this. These you can see the red, it's going in the red, and I've just put these poles through these sleeves and they just go through so easy, so slick, you know. There's no snagging, pushing them in, pulling them out. It's just a dream, really is. Anyway, I'll give this tent a pull and up it'll come. So there you go, that's the tent up, easy peasy. I've just got it on 2 pegs here, 2 pegs at the other side, and I've just put the mid ones in. One of the things I do like about this tent is it does have a midpoint tie out point here on the biggest piece of material, as you can see. A lot of tunnel tents don't have a point there, and obviously if you get a side wind, all that blows in onto your inner tent. So this does this has that little feature, and it allows the air to go underneath, so that's really nice. But anyway, yeah, it's as you can see, shorter pole. This is the highest one with the most headroom, and then this one's still quite a tall pole, so you still get quite a lot of headroom in there. This particular Opalus, this is the Opalus 2. They do a 3 and a 4, which are obviously bigger 3-man and 4-man tents, and they are big enough for 3 men and 4 men. But this Opalus 2 only has a single door on this side, doesn't have another door round here, again just in the name of trying to save weight. We have high level vent here, held down with a bit of Velcro, no stay off there, but and a bit of mesh up in there, and there's 2 of them, one on this end, one on the other end. Sorry about the light, it's a very bright day today. Here's the other one. Again, you would always pitch this, you try and pitch this tent into the wind, either at the foot end or at the head end, so any air flows through the tent and out of the other vent. It sits up off the ground just a little bit, a couple of inches, a little bit more here, so there's a little bit of airflow up and round and underneath it. Looking at the hardware down here, we've got little aluminium loop, and these are all, you can pull the tent nice and tight with these. slacken them off when you're putting the tent up, and when you've got the poles in, tuck it down, and they're on all three on the same side. And then as you can see with this particular door, it zips from here up and over, and it's double zipped as well. As you can see, there's a top zip here, which gives you this nice little peeky out window when it's inclement, or you want to see what's going on in the morning. That's quite a nice little feature. But anyway, and this just toggles up onto two toggles here. If you want to, you can put another peg down in there. There is no clip on the bottom. You know, you can always put another peg here if you wanted to, but I've never had any zip creep with it. It just stays where it is. Just one Velcro on this one, up and over. Anyway, I'll unzip this now, and we'll take a look inside. So the clips on these are really cool. Piece of material, poke that through there, and then you give it a little squeeze, and it difficult to do one-handed while you're on the camera, but you squeeze it and it holds it up, so you can really cinch this in tight. And there's two of them, obviously. Keeps it nicely out of the way, nicely controlled. So going inside the tent, you can see we have loads of space in here. It's a huge tent in here. I love it, really. I mean, I'll get my tape measure out, but I think it's 1.8 meters from here to here, if I remember right. And you can actually lie down in here across on an angle. I mean, so in an emergency you could get potentially 3 people in here. But what this massive vestibule gives you is a huge space to store your equipment. I'll put my bags up the top, get in here, sit and relax. In here, there's the door. Move over this way. There's the door, and I'm sitting up now in the porch, and this is the apex. I'm sitting up an arm's length away. Basically, my head's up underneath this pole here where the vent is. So at 5'10", I can sit up, and how long's your arm? About 1 meter long. So we've got 1 meter long. I can sit up over to here, and then back along this way. So I've got nearly 1 meter square to sit up in here, which is just fantastic. I mean, I can actually use my my Helinox ground chair in here. From sitting in here, there's enough room with my head in this position here to sit up and sort your socks out and do what you want to do, cook, while sitting on your chair inside the porch. It's great. So for a 2-man backpacking tent, it is massive amounts of room. Right, I'm going to try that lying down thing. Here we go. 5'10", feet in the corner, head flat on the other corner. A little bit tight, but I mean, if it was an emergency and I needed to get somebody in here, you could. I don't think you'd get 2 in here, not unless they were kids, but you can get a fully grown bloke sleeping in there. And then obviously this is the inner. So we've got double zips, nice big O-shaped door, and that opens up and goes into its dump pocket here. When I find it, there it is. Put that in the dump pocket. Here you can see the ground sheet underneath. So this is a Nature Hikes, I think it's a 20 denier polyester coated nylon, obviously on the inside, but not very thick. I wouldn't rely on this just by itself, and that's why they give you that ground sheet here. It does take the any pain and protect you from sharp rocks and stuff like that, but that doesn't weigh a lot either by itself. I think that's probably around 200 grams, so you could make it lighter if you knew you were going to go somewhere that was quite delicate, quite gentle on the bottom, you know, bottom of the ground sheet. But I just leave mine in. What's the point? Anyway, right, then moving into the inner tent, you can see I've got pockets either side. Oh, that shouldn't have been in there. That's added weight that I didn't need. Okay, and then as you can see, this is a full mesh upper with a solid section down the bottom, and it raises up at the head end. You would normally sleep with your head here. This pole at the bottom is quite low, so let me just get myself in there. this is quite low down at the bottom here, but it's long. So I'm now laying down with my head inside the tent, and as you can see, my feet are touching the inner tent at the bottom. I'm about as high up as I want to go. So I mean, there's a bit of room there, when you're on your mat for your sleeping bag before you get to the outer tent. But it isn't particularly high at this point. There's no way you're sitting up underneath here. So it's quite a snug, low kind of tunnel tent at this point. Plenty wide enough. I think it's 1.2 meters wide across the main width here. Plenty wide enough across here, which is parallel, and then it tapers in ever so slightly at the bottom. So there's plenty of room to throw all your little bits and bats right down the bottom there, because your feet are not really ever into it. But I'm sitting up now in the inner tent, and my head is touching this material. So it can be a little bit low at this point, but I've slept in this many a nights, and it's never been too much of an issue. I mean, if you only had this in a tent, it would be low, and then moving around and sorting out your sleep bag and, you know, all that sort of stuff would be a nightmare. But it's not a nightmare, because you have that huge porch area there. So this inner is a sleeping room, a bedroom, and that's your living room. And you very rarely ever get tents with living rooms and sleeping rooms. Well, certainly as two-man backpacking ones, this one does. It's huge. One of the big advantages of this tent, the way we use it, is exactly what I've just said there. I can be sitting in here sorting out dinner. Second person can be in there sorting out, getting ready for bed, waking up, having a lie-in. You can be in here sorting everything you need to do, all your you know, setting up your clothes, winding your bits and bats away, and all that sort of stuff. It's great. So this is a little addition of my own. I like my Vango tents. Vango tents come with TBS system. I found a little loop up there, and I put my own little TBS system in it. I don't think it needs it, to be brutally honest. This isn't a huge arch, and it's got lots of tie-out points, as you can see. But I put it in anyway, you know, for the sake of a couple of bits of string. Why not? So one of the things I like to use is my DD hammocks, magic carpet. This is the 1.4 by 1.4 standard size, not the XL. This comes in, I think it's 175 grams, and it covers the base of this absolutely perfectly. I don't know if you've ever used these, but it's a really nice thick polyester without being particularly heavy. It just turns this space into just great. You know, you can jump out of here and put your feet on it and sort out all your stuff, and you know, it's just keeps it great. I don't tie it in. I mean, I can loop it into these little bits if I want to, but for the most part, when you've got your rucksacks and your boots on it, no amount of wind's blowing it anywhere anyway. So worthy addition is that, and really good value as well. So highly recommend the magic carpet from DD Hammocks. So this material is a siliconized upper coat polyester, underneath taped seams everywhere, and it's 20D nylon, so pretty light, pretty strong. Lovely colour, lovely dark forest green. Really like that colour. It blends in beautifully with the countryside. I mean, yeah, it's got yellow bits on, but you're never going to see them. If you can close enough to see the yellow bits, then you can see the whole tent, so that's not a problem. Yeah, it's a lovely thing. The poles, I never pointed them out, but they actually have, and they're a straight pole with an ever slight curve in here, so it's pre-curved on all three poles at factory, and that takes the pressure off it. And they just go through really nicely. Gives you that little bit of extra head space on the tops of all three. So yeah, that's really nice as well. So this tent is a fantastic two-person tent. If you got a bit of bad weather, and that's what led me to this tent in the first place. I had another tent that was really small and had no porch space, and it was low, and then I was in it and it was raining, and I soon realized that spinning around and sorting out your sleeping bag and your air mat and all the rest of it was just a nightmare. And I went, I needed something bigger while still being light. So at 2.2k with a porch that big, which is a whole living room, it's amazing. It truly is. And although it's quite a big tent, it's not. I've squeezed it into some relatively small spaces. I mean, it's not super wide. You know what I mean? It's not super wide. It's quite long, obviously, but it's you can get it into some lovely spots without being too much of an issue. Didn't mention the guy lines. Lovely little reflected guy line with a line lock on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each pole, strengthening out that way. It doesn't need a guy rope that way because that's what the material's doing. Same at that end, you don't need a guy rope going that way, and that's what the material's doing. So just across the poles. Yeah, but if you're after a tent that you're going to be going out and you think it's going to be wet, it could be damp, we could be in it for a while, this is your kiddie. It really is. That porch is just its main feature, and it can't be underestimated how useful that is in bad weather, especially when you can zip the top out and have a little look out. Done that a fair few times. Yeah, it's a great tent. I mean, you can take it car camping if you want to. You know, loads of space in there. I mean, there are bigger versions of it as well, but if you were car camping and then you were walking and carrying, and yeah, 2.2 kilograms split between two of you, no bother at all. I mean, I was using this with my son and I carried it all by myself with all the other equipment as well. You know, he was only young when we started using this, and yeah, it's not a lot of weight. With that ground sheet, comes in about 2.4. It's not that hard to carry at all. So as you probably realised by now, I quite like to modify my tents and to get the best out of them. And I've not done any modification. Well, I've done that one modification, that bit of string, which, to be fair, I'm thinking of taking it off. It doesn't really need it. And I put a ground sheet in. That's how good this tent is. It doesn't need any modification. It's spot on right out of the gate. You know, the hardware's quite lightweight, but it kind of needs to be, because for such a large-ish tent with so many poles, if you overbulk these things, this is going to be, you know, you're going to end up with a 3 kilogram tent. So these little things are lightweight, but they're strong, they're tough. They haven't failed on me. Ground sheet's good. I've slept in this many nights, all taped up. Yeah, actually, I've just remembered there is another little feature on this tent. If I zoom in down there a little bit, you'll see there's like a little clip there and another one there, and that is for rolling up the whole back of the tent. I'll do that now. Actually, I'll roll it up and we'll have a look at that and have a chat about it. Okay. So there you go. That's the back rolled up. It just unclips. The fly sheet just clips off the two bottom pegs, rolls up, and it just little bungee comes out of here and just clips up onto the guy line peg. And what that's for is to give you a bit of ventilation through your tent, so you can keep your door open that end. If you've got a bit of moisture in the morning, set it into the wind, and the wind will just blow through there and dry out all that section of tent beautifully. Yeah, and I guess if you were kicking around, leaving it up on a campsite and it was hot, a bit like today, it's a hot sunny day, and you wanted a bit of airflow through to breeze anything through, then you can do that, and it just helps. It makes it a lot more comfortable inside that tent if you're actually hanging around in it. And then it's easy, just unclip it, put it straight back onto the pegs again, and it's away. It's dead easy. So there you go, that's that wrapped away again now. Matter of seconds. But yeah, what a cracking tent. I love it. It's spacious, it's reliable for its size. It's lightweight, it's well built, it's well pegged down. There's pegs, a million pegs. You know, it's well designed, and it's a big recommendation from me for a tent that gives you that space. If you were going for a longer period of time and you wanted like a base camp, somewhere that you can really kind of hunker down in, it's a great option, and that porch gives you it. I think there is a newer version out at the moment which adds a lot of different features onto it, and I don't think it's any lighter. I think it's heavier, in fact, because it has loads of extra zips and bits and bats on it and things, and yeah, it looks like a great tent. But I think this one is I think this is the better of the two, personally. Anyway, I think I'll wrap that review up there. I hope you enjoyed it. I shall be bringing a new tent to the channel soon. I think I might do a pyramid tent next. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.